Hello and welcome back to another session in our continued journey of trying to master critical thinking and argument analysis. So we have already worked with a few questions and some basics, so we should know what an argument means by now, and it is very simple. It is a set of reasons and conclusion. Reason plus reason and a conclusion together give you a most basic form of argument. What is an assumption? An assumption is a unstated reason. So it is a reason, but it is just not given in the argument process as such, right? So all of these things put together form our basics of argument analysis, but we have gone beyond that also and worked with a few questions. We have looked at strengthening the argument, weakening the argument. That means trying to support the conclusion or trying to attack the conclusion. And we have looked at questions of spotting the assumption and more such scenarios, right? So as we try more and more questions, we'll get more comfortable with it. And overall, once again, the first basic agenda would always be to have a very good grasp of what the paragraph is saying. If it is very clear to you in your own language, the logic is not going to present too much of a trouble. I think for most people, it is still a game of comprehension. The logic is not very difficult because it is very commonsensical. These kind of arguments we do in our daily lives a lot, right? So today's agenda is to continue that process, try out a few more questions and practice our critical thinking process via those questions. So let's get started with the question now. So let's look at the paragraph first. It says industry experts expect improvements in job safety training to lead to a safer work environment. So there are some people, there are experts, they are saying if you improve job safety training, your work safety, your environmental work environment safety will go up. Something will go up, this will also go up, and it makes logical sense also. You are improving the job safety training and therefore your workplace has become safer. You're improving job safety training, workplace has become safer means the number of accidents are going down. This I'm saying because when I read later, it talks about number of accidents. That is another way of showing how safe a workplace environment is. So my first statement, let me rephrase, paraphrase it for myself in my own language. Industry expert, they think if job safety training is improved, my number of accidents will go down or my overall safety of the environment will go up, whatever way you want to interpret it. A recent survey indicated, however is a very important keyword for us, because if we have understood the power of conjunctions, just stopping at this word tells me something opposite is going to happen. So we were expecting that when job safety training goes up, number of accidents will go down. Probably in the words following, however, job safety training will be done, yet the accidents will happen. And that is what exactly is there in the paragraph. It says, however, that for manufacturers who improved job safety training during the 1980s, the number of the on-job accidents tended to increase in the months immediately following the changes in the training program. Summarize it for yourself, this long sentence. It basically means that even though you did job safety training, the number of accidents went up. So this is the story. Industry experts think that if you do job safety training, the number of accidents will go down. That means the workplace will become safer. And the reality in a particular survey shows from the 1980s or whatever, that even though job safety training was done, the number of accidents went up. Now what is my question? My question is, which one of the following, if true, most helps to resolve the apparent discrepancy above? So first of all, I should understand what this word discrepancy means. You can see the stories are not matching with each other, right? In a logical universe, everything will fit together rightly. Here, experts are thinking if you increase this, this will increase. But in reality, when this is increased, the other thing is going down, or some vice versa thing is happening. So you have to find some information which will help you resolve this difference and put these two pieces together. A simpler example would be, let's say your family gave you 100 rupees for a job to be done in the market, right? And they said, bring this and buy this and come back. You came back and you said all the money is over. They said, give me the bills, but you could only give them bills worth 83 rupees. So 100 rupees was given to you, but you have bills for only 83. Where is that remaining 17? So there is a discrepancy in the story. They gave you 100 rupees, but you can only show accounts for 83. But suddenly you find a small bill in your pocket for 17 rupees, or you remember 17 rupees was a fare for the auto. Once you find the 17 rupees detail, the discrepancy will be resolved, right? Because now the story is okay, there is no logical problem with it. So a very similar thing you have to do in this question. and you can start thinking on your own, or you can look at the options. And even if the first option is wrong, it will give you a direction to think in maybe, right? So let's look at the first option. A similar survey found that the number of on-the-job accidents remained constant after job safety training in the transportation sector was improved. They said in another story, remained constant. Here job safety training was done and the number of accidents remained constant. If this statement is true, my discrepancy is still there, because according to the experts, when the job safety training is done, the number of accidents should have gone down. Even if they have remained constant, means there is something wrong with the process, right? So my discrepancy would remain even if this statement was true, so I will reject it. Look at option B. Manufacturers tend to improve their job safety training only when they're increasing the size of their workforce. So this statement is saying that people only do job safety training when they are increasing their workforce. So take a number for yourself to better understand the process. Say you had 10 people earlier and you were getting 1 accident out of 10, right? So accident rate is 10%, and you are now going from 10 to 100, and only then you do job safety training. So let's say, do a little maths. If you had 1 accident out of 10, out of 100 you should have had 10 accidents without the job safety training, maintaining the same rate of accidents. Say because of the job safety training you only got 5 accidents, but data will still say the number of accidents has increased if you only focus at that, because earlier there was 1 accident out of 10 people, now there are 5 accidents. That it is out of 100 people is not given, right? So if this information is given to you, the discrepancy resolved, because you will say, yeah, okay. Because the number of people has gone high, the scale is increasing, that is why the number of accidents is going up, even though the job safety training might have worked, right? So the job safety training is reducing the number of accidents, but because of the overall scale, the still accidents are, the number is higher. So once you understand that, it's very clearly, easily resolved. So I'm using numbers to explain the process. You might not even need that. You just understand, okay, yeah, this is what is happening logically, and I found a loophole. So now my stories are matched together. Why there is a discrepancy in the data, and the data is explained. So my answer is B, and 52% of the people got this as the right answer. Let's look at option C and D quickly. Option C, manufacturers tend to improve job safety training only after they have noticed that the number of on-the-job accidents has increased. So this statement is saying manufacturers do training only when the accidents have gone up. Okay, think for a bit. Accidents have gone up, they do job safety training. After that, the number of accidents should have come down. Only look at this information, right? So even if this is true that they do training only after accidents go up, after the training the number of accidents has gone down, but my data says that the number of accidents has gone up, even though industry experts were thinking it will not, right? So even if C is true, it is still not solving the discrepancy between the earlier information. D, it is likely that the increase in the number of the on-job accidents experienced by many companies was not merely a random fluctuation. So if this was true, that it is not a random fluctuation, think for a minute. If it was a random fluctuation, actually your discrepancy would be resolved. You would say, no, that was just one data in the 1980s for 5 years for some other reason, maybe because of environment or psychology or whatever was happening in the world, but everywhere else our data is consistent. But here it is saying, no, this data was not random fluctuation. That means this data was serious data. That means my discrepancy remains the way it was, right? So it has not resolved it for you. So if nothing else, understand what this question means. It means that there is these pieces of information which are not making sense together. You find the third piece and together all of them will make sense. And my answer would be option B.